Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very special and exciting day. I'm here with Ananya, and this is my first recorded case study from the Sales Accelerator, which is my female sales mentorship program. So super excited to have you. Welcome, Ananya.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
So Ananya started working with me I looked back actually this morning on the 17th of February. And she landed her first ever closing role I believe you started working with me on the 17th of January, and you landed your
Mhm.
first role on the 10th of February.
Yeah.
And within that time, she has made 9K in 2 weeks of closing, which is absolutely insane. Like it completely blew my stats out of the water. I think my first ever month of closing, I made around 4K. So it's absolutely incredible. So I'd love for you to give us a little bit of background about yourself. If you could kind of, I guess, take me back to what motivated you to kind of get into high ticket sales. Like, what was it about the industry that really attracted your attention?
I think, well, I kind of like dropped out of college, right? So I was never looking for like a typical, way to make money. I always wanted my freedom, but obviously, if I want to do something bigger in the future, something like of my own, I need the skill set to do that. So, sales was like the best way to do that. And obviously, I'm not kind of like I need to hustle to make money. And I think sales is a very feminine, relaxing way to be able to do that. And so I think that's why closing is like the best route for me.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. That's exactly how I felt when I kind of got into sales too. I think being able to earn a very, very decent income
Mhm.
without pushing yourself to the limits. Obviously, it's hard work, sales is, but it's not manual labor, it's not going to an office, commuting, etc. 100%. And I'm curious, for when we kind of started talking and you kind of messaged me and reached out to me, how did you come across myself, and what made you kind of reach out and get in touch?
I think I saw your results and I saw women absolutely killing it in sales. And I knew like there's just something about the way that you were doing it, which it just really drew me in. And again, I could learn from, again, no like nothing to like the men teaching women out there, but learning from a woman as a woman is just a completely different experience. And I felt like you really understood, what I would go through and how to experience it. So that was the number one thing.
Nice. I love that. I speak to women all the time, including myself, who there's hardly any women trainers in the space or women sales reps, right? I don't know about yourself, but when I started, I really struggled to even make like friends, connections in sales
Mhm.
because there's
Yeah.
hardly anyone, which is crazy. Like, what are your thoughts with that, with the lack of women in the space, considering what you know now of what it's like to be a woman in sales?
Um, yeah, I mean, for sure. I think it's so funny. Like, this is just a silly little thing, but like people would be sending you like that emoji with like the muscle emoji, and it's just like that's like such a representation of the industry right now. It's just very male dominated, and naturally, and it's just I've been called bro before, like working as a setter. It's just how it is. But I think
Mm.
it's so refreshing to have females in the space as well.
Yeah. And I'd love to know your take on being a woman in sales. Do you feel that women have an advantage or a disadvantage within high ticket sales? Like, what's your personal perspective on that?
I think definitely it's the way you use it, right? So I think if you use it the right way, you definitely have an advantage. Um, and you, I mean, we have so many soft skills. We have empathy, compassion. We're able to kind of let the prospect's guard down so they don't feel sold to, especially if you show up to the call in a certain way. And I think that really helps us kind of have um, like an advantage really as compared to a male.
100%. I think you hit the nail on the head with you can use it in the right way or you can use it in the wrong way. And
Mhm.
I think the women in the space, and this is just my opinion, who use their femininity in the right way and have a work ethic behind them. I made a post about this yesterday on Instagram. The world's your oyster within sales. You can have any opportunity, you can make any amounts of money because offer owners are pretty much desperate to find that. Whereas usually it's the misconception that men work hard. So like the men are the ones that should be on the offers. But if you have
Mhm.
both of those kind of the mindset and the skill set and the work ethic, it's pretty crazy what you can achieve, which is what you have achieved, which is 9K in 2 weeks, which is wild. Um, and I guess off the back of that, I'd love to know what you feel it takes to achieve that. Because obviously you came in, I know you had some sales experience before, so I'd love for you to touch on that in setting. But to achieve a result like that is pretty insane. So, and I know that just wasn't like, it didn't just click your fingers and happen. So, behind the scenes and working with me, what did it take to actually achieve that kind of result, do you think, and lead you up into this moment?
Um, I'd say it was more of a mindset thing. Skill set was definitely important, but to know like how to approach it, because obviously it's not easy, that you're just on a commission basis and you might make money, you might not. If you don't, like there's no one kind of trying to take care of you in that way. So um it's just, I guess, the mindset of like, if I don't make money this day and I got a no today, it's okay, I'll get a no, a yes, the next day. And that's exactly what happened. Like I would cry after my like first couple of closing calls, and then the next day I'd have like four pips. And so it was wild to
Wow.
see like the journey, and like kind of maintaining your energy and having like a more positive outlook. And then obviously skill set does come in. And so I watched all the videos in the training, and they were so helpful in just my foundations and like the way I need to approach these calls, because you could have the right skill set and approach them in a completely different way, and that would um, you know, completely mess up the strategy. So I was like able to think for myself because I knew how to be on the
Mm.
calls. If that makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah, 100%. So for yourself, you would say obviously skill set's great, etc., but you would say mindset for you was like the biggest component to your success, you'd say.
100%. I think mindset and persistence.
And I know when we first spoke, obviously on our original call when you joined the Sales Accelerator, I hope you don't mind me saying you were quite nervous. Obviously, you really wanted to take that step, but there was, I guess a few limiting beliefs there. So I'd love to expand on that of mindset in itself and what you felt looking back in hindsight, because it was only a short time ago, but I see you've come so far. It's incredible. Like, what were those limiting beliefs you had about stepping into a closing position and being in sales kind of just before we worked together, and how have you been able to overcome those, do you think?
Um, I think, well, I had like a million excuses. It's like, I can't do closing yet. My background's not good enough. Like, I'm like, I need to work on this. I need to work on that. And so I kind of tried to delay it as much as possible.
Mhm.
But like, I was in a situation where that I had to get out of. And so that really pushed me to get past my limiting beliefs. And even like, if you're not in a situation where, it's kind of pushing you to think, it's just that excitement and that nervousness that like it's a very fun feeling if you're like able to handle it, and then you like take that momentum and you keep going. And I think you like really were able to like push me to do that or guide me while I was feeling that nervousness. And so I think I was able to take a step sooner than I would have if I were on my own.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. I think it's about finding, and I'm sure you can test this, it's finding that right mentor, no matter who it is, or that person who's been there and done it, who can guide you and give you that confidence. Because I was exactly the same, like throughout my journey, there was multiple times where I had a bit of a wobble and I was like, can I do this? Or like, am I even capable of achieving XYZ, a certain income? And then it's having that person that you trust to be like, go on, you can do it. And having that push, which is so important rather than just kind of embarking on this journey alone, I guess.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts with that? Kind of doing
Agree.
this independently, possibly you going into closing alone rather than coming and working with me?
No, like closing, it is the wild, wild west out there. Like I was a setter for such a long time, and it was like I would get on offers, they would barely, get me leads. It was just cold calling with like 10-year-old, sorry, like 3 to 5-year-old leads, and things like that. So if you're navigating it on your own, it's possible you could get lucky, but if you actually have the right guidance, you could just do it a lot sooner with a lot less frustration. I think there was a point in my career where I quit sales because I was on my own. I was doing it for
Wow.
such a long time. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just not going to work for me. But when you're actually working with someone and they've had results, and then you have other people in the community that are kind of going towards the same thing as well, you know that it works. And so there's no reason or excuse that you give yourself to not make it work.
100%. And I'd love to know, because obviously I didn't realize you kind of were in sales, then quit, and obviously came back to it. So over your whole journey of kind of starting out in sales from the very beginning and getting to where you are now, and obviously moving forward from here, like what would you say, I guess, have been your biggest learnings up to this date that's allowed you to get to this point and achieve what you have in such a short amount of time, do you think?
Um, I think like if you're in something long enough, you should be able to do it eventually. So that's definitely something. But I think over time, like for me, really, obviously I worked within different industries. I had as much experience as possible, like no complaining, even if the offer was shit, I just kind of keep pushing. So that really gave me a lot of experience on like different types of leads, how to work with them. And that's more on the skill set side of things. But like I think mindset, right? Because this is again not a typical job. Like you have to have a very different mindset. You can't like expect to be promoted or like just do your hours and then you'll get praise and things like that. You really have to perform. So like being doing this for a while, I think that just kind of conditioned me to be able to show up in the right way. And so when I started closing, I kind of knew what to expect, and it like they weren't like um it wasn't like a fantasy that like 10K months would be easy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess if people are watching who are looking to get into sales, or I guess looking to go from setter to closer, like, do you feel do you feel there's a certain mindset or a certain type of person that would be able to take on that challenge? Do you think it's for everyone, or what would you say the key characteristics, I guess, would be the question, to be able to come in and do what you've done, do you think?
I don't think it's for everyone really, and it maybe not. It could be for everyone, but maybe not in a certain phase of their life. Like there was a point in my life where it was not for me. Like I
Hmm.
could have pushed as hard as I wanted to, it just wasn't. And you have to be kind of at a point where you want to take control of your life, you want to take control of your income, and you, just speaking for women, you want to do it in a relaxed way where you're not hustling, you're not really like working for someone, kind of like reporting to them. So yeah, I think it's for you if you have that drive and you're kind of willing to persist, even if you see shit days, you're okay with crying. But like what really matters is that you get there. And if like that goal is strong enough for you, I think sales would be the right way.
100%. I always say that. I say that constantly on my channel, is like, this is not for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
this is hard work. Yes, it's relaxed, and yes, you can have incredible results. But if you come in and you're not someone who's gonna, I always say you've got to want this more than you can breathe. Like, I truly feel that way. You've got
Yeah.
to be able to take the extra call, go the extra mile, do the extra trainings, like show up when you feel rubbish, be there and allow prospects to emotionally dump onto you, because
Mhm.
you are the receiver here, which can be very energy draining. Like there's a not a dark side, but I guess we'll say that for now, of there's a dark side to sales that's not mentioned. I think it's very much glamorized as work as little as
Mhm.
possible, make as much money as you can. But behind the scenes of what it takes to be that person and to make that type of money is a lot of development, personal
Mhm.
and professionally, um,
Really.
to get
I
there.
think
What would you say to that?
I think it's really like the mastery of yourself, like through the entire journey. And also back to your previous question, like I think I was able to master a lot of like my inner world. And like you would talk to prospects that would be just so rude to you. Like they, honestly, like really interesting people that you get on calls. Sometimes you get like absolute sweethearts, but it's about like not taking things personally, just kind of being able to
I'd say I'd
go,
say taking full accountability
yeah,
for you and kind of your what you've learned and kind of where you are. And yeah, you speak
yeah,
to people who are just can be awful, and then you can speak to people, the next person who are lovely. And in that maybe 3 minutes before you get onto one call to another, you have to take a deep breath and you have to pull yourself together and you have to go again and you have to present yourself in a way because that person is meeting you for the very first time
yeah,
and you've got to then listen to their troubles again. So
100%.
yeah, it's a lot, I'd say it's a I know when I started sales, I developed so much personally to be able to get to a point now where I can very calmly lead someone to help them make a change.
Mhm.
Whereas before, I used to get angry, I used to get frustrated. It didn't make sense. Some people weren't thinking logically or how I thought to be logically. So I would kind of retaliate back to that. And I think mastering the skill of sales, you have to be completely selfless and just be fully receiving and just
Mhm.
listen and be calm and make the right decisions to help someone, would you say?
Yeah, I agree. And I think like knowing that the commission that you're receiving at the end of the call, like knowing that if you close this and if you push through, you're gonna get rewarded for that. I mean, I think that really helps. And then you can also kind of memorize it for yourself, like show up as beautifully as you can. Like have a cup of coffee. I think you were talking about this as well. Like romanticize your day because really you're just like opening your computer, getting on a video call, talking to someone, and then collecting cash, right? And like that feeling is incredible. Like when you have like
Mm.
back-to-back piffs or like, and also just seeing like the business owner, like he hit his first 100K month, I believe, and I hit my first like almost 10K. And so that was exciting. It really like, it made me so happy that I was able to add value in that way. So it is very fulfilling if you just like push through the tough days. But I think like anything worth putting energy into can be tough at times. So
100%. I love that. And what I try and teach in the sales accelerator is things that I never did. Like I can perhaps be a hypocrite at times because I'll tell you guys to do things that I didn't do, but only out of hindsight of I know that I pushed myself. I locked myself in an office for nearly 12 months and did not romanticize my life, did not treat myself, did not give myself days off. I just worked like 12-hour days. And yeah, it's allowed me to get to a place that I am now, so I don't regret it. But it's also like life's too short. Like if you
mhm,
can incorporate the good stuff into your day as well, like we said, getting your coffee, getting your nails done, going for a walk, whatever it is, you're going to enjoy the journey so much and you're not going to put so
yeah,
much pressure on yourself that you have to perform and you have to always be the best.
yeah.
And I guess on that note, because I know we've had conversations back and forth sharing experience on kind of that pressure to perform and kind of how you combat that. What would you say your key takeaways are for that? Like when you're having the bad days, when you're not closing deals, and then you're having the good days and you're closing back to back, like how do you differentiate that? And how do you, I guess, change the bad and make it a good and be able to push through to get your results, would you say?
Um, it could, this conversation could get like a little woo-woo, but like it's really about your energy. And if you kind of say you do get a no, and then you don't assume that that's just going to be the case. And you know that like every call is a new opportunity and you have like this fresh start. Like there's something known as beginner's luck, right? And it's because you're unaware of like what could potentially go wrong. I think if you know about sales too much and you kind of expect objections and you expect like, oh, they're always going to think about it, then that's exactly what you're going to experience. So like if you feel really shit and you feel frustrated, like as a woman, just like cry it out or like go focus on something that you like for a little while and then come back and then take the call with fresh energy and like try to notice what you like in the prospect. And I think that helps really lighten the mood. um and and if you don't like the prospect whatsoever, like focus on yourself on the screen and then push through. But I think like just focusing, I know it's easy to say, but like just focusing on the good things um really helps kind of put you in like the state of gratitude and just joyfulness. And
Mm,
then um, again, that's what you feel as a beginner as well as like this incredible opportunity. So you
mm.
just keep doing that and you keep that fresh mindset.
100%. I think gratitude is so important. And I'm
Yeah.
the first one to admit that I forget how lucky we are to get to do the job that we do because it's
Mhm.
so rewarding. Like you said, we get to sit on a call and make typically anywhere what between $500 to $1,000 for 45 minutes to an hour of our time, which
Mhm.
is very rare to be able to be in a position like that. And yeah, it's incredible. And I guess on that note, kind of talking about commissions and kind of how things have changed. I know you're in Dubai right now. Like, how has your life changed since you've started closing and since we've started working together?
It's taken a complete 180. So like I was back at home. So I don't have a degree, right? So I have to make this work. And like sales, there are other options, but like for me, sales was it. And I was kind of in this position where I was setting for a long time. It just wasn't getting me the income that I wanted to. And I knew like there was something more for me. And that like I was ready to start actually doing the closing, because for a long time I didn't feel I was ready for that. And I did it. And that was able to kind of get me out of a very like that would be my rock bottom. It's like I'm back at home. I have no savings, no money. You know, I've just been through like some absolute chaos in my personal life. Really, what happened was last year I was in a position, I was in Dubai, but I couldn't pay for my own like living or food and things like that. And it unfortunately got to that position. So I had to fly back home. And like my family's not very well off, but I just kind of had to like sit on this little desk and make sure, like, with my computer that's as loud as like an airplane and it's so heavy and it's just like this piece of thing that's just still functioning. But I kind of had to push through on those days. And I also had like a very personal thing that happened. So I was just in a horrible place, like mentally, physically, emotionally. Um, so like the biggest thing I wanted to do was be able to be independent, take care of myself, and fly back to where I feel at home, which is Dubai. And obviously this place is expensive. So like even if you're making like 3 to 4K, it's just not going to cut it.
Mm,
So I had to essentially find a way to be able to do that, like push myself, even though like I just wasn't feeling it like in every way. And it's like you kind of wish you could just kind of like lay in bed all day and just not do anything, just like quit. But like that's when you really have to push through. And
mm,
so yeah, and I kind of knew like I couldn't do it alone as well. Like I could try, but like to have someone that's done it again would have been incredible. And so I was like really hoping to find that. And then I came across your stuff and I was like, oh my goodness, like right away. And I think we got on a call right away and I was just like, yeah, like take all my money right now. Like I just want to do this. And so I'm so glad I did that. And it's just also like even um being in that energy and that presence of like someone who's done it just really pushes you and it's just this weird
mm,
thing and that was enough for me to be like okay I deserve this as well and I could do this
mhm.
myself and I was able to fly back to Dubai this month and it's just been incredible so far and I've been able to live it in a way that previously I wasn't. Obviously I was struggling and kind of um yeah, just like it's so fun. Like my days look amazing. Like I wake up, I could go to the mall, I could shop a little, I could like there's a gym and a spa like right next to my building. And there it's an incredible place and I could just walk there. Like I'm getting new outfits, I'm getting new makeup. Like these are all like surface level things, but
Wow,
it just makes you feel so good. It's just like
does.
reminds you that like life is good and like the dark days like they'll
Are
pass.
done.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm genuinely so proud of you. Like in the short time that we've known each other, you are a completely different person. Like I don't know if you've recognized it in yourself because I struggled too. And it's only when I actually looked back on I got sent my original sales call for the program that I was in. And I'm like, that poor like little girl, like, oh my goodness, I just want to wrap her up because it's like a completely different person to who I am now. And for you as well, I remember us being on that call, and obviously I had no idea kind of what the situation you were in or kind of what happened in your past. But I remember for you to invest in my program, for you to take a bet on me was a huge deal. Like, obviously, you hadn't started closing yet, you hadn't made that financial success. Your setting career was like the offer you were on was a bit wobbly. It was like a huge step. You were really just taking a massive leap of faith and hoping for the best. So, I guess how did that feel? And if do you have any advice for someone else who may be in a similar situation that really hardly has any savings? I was the exact same, but just fully took a bet on themselves and just went for it.
Mhm. I think so for me, like I was saving up as a setter. I thought that's how I'm gonna get to Dubai. It's like I'm gonna save and I'll have like maybe like 10K saved at the end of 6 months and then I'll just like fly, right? And um, but obviously like then when you save money like that, like it's going to run out at some point. It's not like the best thing to do. Like you need to find a way to consistently make it. So when I decided to invest, like that's the mindset that I had was like, sure, I have these savings and I'm like so close to flying, but I need to, this is not going to cut it like long term. So yeah, I like invested a big chunk of that, which meant that I had to stay back at home for a little bit longer. But I like it was there was this feeling of like excitement and like knowing that it's going to work for me, even though I don't know how and I don't feel confident whatsoever, but there's just something about it. And there's like, it's just so nerve-wracking and it's so exciting at the same time. It's like the best feeling in the world. It's um, like you just know your life is going to change. And that's when your body just like gives you all the discomfort it can. So just like pushing through that and doing it. And like worst case scenario, you just realize, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And then you're put in a better direction. But most of the time, like you know what you're doing. And yeah, you always like usually make the right decision.
100%. And is that how you felt? Even though you were super nervous and scared, you kind of knew deep down that you were gonna make this happen, would you say?
Yeah, like for me, it was like no matter what, even if I had to continue doing this for a very, very long time and say like for me, the worst case scenario is I'd just be at home for like another year. And you know, trying to make it work. So for me, it was like there's no other option really. So
Mm.
I knew that. And you can only like control so much, right? You can control like the
Mm.
decisions you're making at the moment, what you need to kind of making sure that you have everything in place so that, you know, uh, you know that you're actually actively working towards your goals. And so for me, it was knowing that I have to invest into someone. I need to be with someone that's done it before, and someone that really gets me. And so, like I knew that that was the step I had to take.
100%. And I'd love to know your feedback. I'm not sure of the previous programs you've been in the past, but how would you describe the sales accelerator? Like how are we here different compared to like other programs you possibly come across? Like what made you take a bet on me and the program?
I think like the program like after experiencing the program, I think it just focuses on you as a human first. So like I think the conversations that we have on calls and things like that is more so about like us personally and like how we, it's not just skill set, which could be great, but it's overwhelming. And like you're not a robot, right? Like you could like start watching a ton of objection handling videos and like trying to learn the script and things like that. But if you're not a human first, again, this is a people business. So like if you're not connected to that side of you, you're not going to make money. Or it's just not going to be as fun. So I think like it's very wholesome in that way. And like there's the right amount of training and there's the right amount of like mindset work. And so it just feels effortless. And like even though it's not, like you just make it feel like very comfortable and effortless and like it's just like what you need, especially like as a female in like a commission based role.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And how would you describe the program structure, the community of women?
Mhm.
Like, what has been your experience, like full honest experience so far with having one, a community of women, two, full access to myself and the training that I've provided so far?
Yeah. the community is amazing. Like we're all so supportive of each other and just like celebrating our wins. And like if we have, problems that we're facing, it's like such an open space to share that. And then also like just, get the proper reframe to view that in a better way, or like kind of be able to get out of that situation as well. So I think like that's a huge part of the program as well as like the women that are a part of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think like the structure in itself, like we have enough access to you, like more than enough, I would say. We, get on calls twice a week, so that's quite frequent. And like the videos, like that's something I watch again and again, even if I've, made money and I understand, how to take these calls, I still watch them over and over again to keep refining it. So it's incredible.
I love that. And how likely, let's say if there's someone listening and they're on the fence, they're a beginner or they're just kind of they're in setting and they want to move to closing, what would be your advice and how likely are you to recommend them to the sales accelerator to actually kind of kickstart their journey and help them achieve their income goals?
100%. I don't think they would be as nervous as I was. So like if they're doing this, they'd 100% do it, because like if I was able to do it and I was in a terrible situation, I like all the things, like all the odds against me, but like this program like kept me going. And so I 100% recommend it, especially if you're feeling scared. This is this is just absolutely going to help you.
I love that. I honestly think having a community of women is so rare. And I know we haven't actually spoke much about this personally, so I'd love to know your perspective. But for me, when I started, although the community I was in was amazing, it was just a group of men. I used to join these team calls and
Mhm.
it was all men. And it was scary. I was like a shell of myself. I was scared to ask questions. It was intimidating because there were just no other trainings for women. So that was just the only choice. And when I created this, I really wanted it to be a very safe space for women. And I know I've said this a few times, but the other day when we had everyone kind of showed up to the team call and everyone was kind of bouncing ideas off themselves, sharing feedback, giving advice. And I just kind of sat back and just admired everyone, just having that open conversation and bouncing off each other. And it genuinely makes my heart so full because I didn't even know this was possible to be able to achieve this and for me to be able to facilitate it and then have results like yours off the back of it is just incredible. So what would you say about having that community of women and having that support from let's say woman to woman from myself and from the other community members, do you think, compared to maybe like a more male dominated training?
I think like I've been on calls with men before and it's great. Like they're really motivating as well. But like there's jokes that you just don't want to laugh at, or like, there's like you can't share openly because they just really wouldn't understand it. Or like you wouldn't get like, it's just you don't feel like really opening up in that way either. It doesn't feel that safe and it's just natural. And so I think like having a space of women, and also knowing like they all have a similar mindset as you, right? Because you could open up in a space of like women in general, and that's comforting as well. But just knowing we're all going the same direction, and um, that just really helps.
I love that. What's the goal for you? Let's say for the rest of 2025,
Yeah.
where would you like to be? What do you want to achieve?
Um, Definitely get to 20K per month
Mhm.
consistently. Just get really, really good at sales. Um, Stick with an offer long term, grow within that as much as I can. Obviously, like once I hit 20K months, I'll have a new goal. So I'll see after. But for now, it's surely 20K.
Yeah, 100%. You can absolutely do it. I'm not shocked at all because you've got the work ethic, you've got the mindset, but to produce a result like that so quick, I'm sure even yourself, you're kind of like, whoa, how did that happen? It's incredible. I absolutely love it. And I guess kind of final thoughts. Let's say if someone's watching this, they're sitting on the fence, they don't know whether they should or shouldn't take that leap. Any words of encouragement, any advice, like who should start this process? Who should actually commit to this versus who shouldn't?
You, well, we'll start with like you shouldn't commit to this if you are hoping to make quick money. If you are kind of like just you just want to try something, see if it works. Like it's just not your, I mean, the first day, like you're just gonna quit on the first day for sure. And if you are like, no, I have to make it work. Like for me, like 5-figure months, like it's non-negotiable. And I know like sales is a skill set I need to have, just to like as a person, then 100% like this is for you. And if you're okay with like difficult days, um, you're just going to be rewarded for sure at the end of it.
I love it, 100%. As I said, I'm so proud of you, and I know 20K months are around the corner, so I can't wait to work with you to help you achieve that. So, Ananya, thank you so much for joining me today and taking the time out. And yeah, that's the end of the interview, guys. If you have any questions for me, you're interested in how Ananya kind of kickstarted her journey and scaled to 9K in 2 weeks closing, or if you're interested in getting into sales, either message me on Instagram, or I have a link in the description where you can book a call with me and we can chat personally to discuss your sales goals to see if I can help at all. Bye, guys.
Bye.